Hello and welcome to Bread of Life, a daily devotional program which each week features a different area pastor. Our speaker for this week is Pastor Dan Whitney of Manchester.
This is Dan Whitney, pastor of the Church of the Nazarene in Manchester, Connecticut. I'm talking this week about the experience of many folks who have found themselves beyond exhausted, joyless, and hyperextended beyond their ability to cope. There is help for all of us when we find ourselves in these kinds of places. Today, I'd like to make 3 more suggestions about finding your way back from fatigue. First, take a break from your schedule and learn to say no. Every Christmas, we complain about how busy the season is. What we fail to consider is that each December, we try to cram more activities into a schedule that is already full. That is a recipe for frustration and failure. The only way to add things sensibly to a full schedule is to subtract some other things. This is especially true when we are extremely tired. To recover, we need rest. And to rest, we need to make time for rest by subtracting things from our schedule. This obviously means we have to use more of what John Roseman calls vitamin N. What is vitamin N? Simply the word no. When asked if we can do more or take on another activity, we must simply learn to say no. If we find something compelling that must be done, we must say no to something we are already doing. Unless we make time for rest, unless we make room for recovery, we will become less and less productive until we can barely function. Second, if you have a job where things never seem to get finished or resolved, and I'm especially thinking of service jobs that involve people and relationships, consider tackling a small project that can be completed in a short amount of time. If unfinished tasks weigh on you continually, the act of actually finishing something can provide an emotional boost. Now, I'm not talking about remodeling the kitchen while you live in the house. But maybe the garage door has needed painting for a long time, and you know you could complete that in a matter of an hour or 2. Or maybe you have a pair of pants that need hemming, and they've been hanging in the closet for 6 months, waiting for the right time. Small projects, easily completed, can bring a sense of accomplishment to your days. Third, John Eldredge, in his book, Get Your Life Back, suggests that God surrounds us in abundance with things we need most, things like water and oxygen. But just as important as water and oxygen, God also surrounds us with beauty. The beauty of creation reminds us of the provision of God, and that is something we need to see often. When I stopped to take a personal inventory during my time of deep fatigue, I discovered that somehow I had stopped listening to music. I was a music teacher before I was a pastor, and I have an extensive musical collection that I was now too busy to enjoy. A significant part of my recovery plan included listening to beautiful music that could inspire me to consider the magnificence of God and the beauty He has surrounded us with. A trip to the ocean or the mountains can be healing. Eldredge says, "Beauty heals, partly because it proclaims that there is goodness in the world and that goodness prevails." So among other things, thin out the schedule, find some easy tasks to complete, and immerse yourself in beauty. Isaiah prophesied to Israel in the time of their desperation, "I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." Isaiah 43:19. You can have hope for the future because God is always doing new things, and we can trust Him to bring a new day into each of our lives as well. May the peace of the Lord be with you today and always.
You've been listening to Pastor Dan Whitney of Manchester, and this has been Bread of Life, a program to encourage you from God's Word.